Every Insurtech pivots. I can't think of a single one that 5 years after they were founded are still following exactly the same business plan they started off with. They typically have to find some point of pivot, some adaptation of the product, some adaptation of the messaging, adaptation of their technology stack or plan or whatever. You have to wade out there and encounter what you will. You make your best guesses, but be prepared to be agile and not just software development, but business, and be prepared to change course.
This is the Insurance Technology Podcast, where we bring interesting people from across the insurance ecosystem to discuss and debate technology's impact on the industry. Join us each episode for insights and best practices from industry stewards and tomorrow's innovators. Now, here's your host, Reid Holsworth.
Welcome to the Insurance Technology Podcast. I'm your host, Reid Holsworth. In this episode, I'm going to be interviewing Chip Bacciocco. Chip is the CEO of Trusted Choice. If you're an IA and you're listening to this and you don't know who Trusted Choice is, man, Google it. And if you don't know Chip, you're going to get to know him. Chip's an awesome dude. I've known Chip for a lot of years. He lives here right in my hometown in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They have an office here. Chip's just amazing. But in this episode, we're going to really get to learn about Chip and his childhood. We're going to learn about his dreams to be the Wolf of Wall Street that were shattered when he fell into insurance. We all have dreams, but here we are, and we love it, right? We're also going to get Chip's opinion on some of the challenges in this industry. Here's a little spoiler alert. It's not technology. It's really good stuff. Stay tuned. It's a great episode. Joining me today in person here at my humble abode is Chip Bacciocco, also known as Chip Bacciocco. Bacciocco, right? Depends on the
region. Depends on where you're at.
A region, but here in the Midwest, he says Bacciocco, where he grew up in Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Bacciocco
there. If you go to California, they'll insist on Bacciocco. Bacciocco.
I kind of like that.
And if you go to Italy, where of course they know how to say it, it's Bacciocco. And you kind of say it with like your hand, like you're making a pizza. Bacciocco.
I love it.
All of those work.
So Chip is the CEO of Trusted Choice. Trusted Choice, trustedchoice.com. I mean,
trustedchoice.com, technically, if you want to, we get out the lawyers and all that stuff. But Trusted Choice is the brand of the independent insurance agents that are members of the Big I. Trustedchoice.com is the technology platform. It's one, for the purpose of our audience, it's one big thing.
One big thing. So Chip and I have known each other for a number of years. Chip lives here in Milwaukee, as do I, of course, as most people know. So it's awesome. Isn't it great that trustedchoice.com is here?
It is.
Milwaukee.
I don't know about you, by the way. Maybe the Wisconsin travel people need to send me a royalty. I have been pushing for years that Milwaukee should be known as the Paris of the Midwest.
The Paris of the Midwest.
The Paris of the Midwest. And if you think about it, the cultural things we have, and we have a river, and there's a lot of similarities.
It is a very romantic city.
Yes, it's very, very cool. So I'm going to insert that one more time. Milwaukee, come to Milwaukee, the Paris of the Midwest.
I'm envisioning people making out, one man with a very long, big beard holding a PBR next to the river.
Well, we have that too.
And a very nice lady.
We have that too. It's
next
Paris.
to the Harley-Davidson Museum.
Yes, exactly. Paris with motorcycles and beer and brats.
That's my kind of Paris.
There you go.
I tell you what.
Why not?
So I asked Chip to join the podcast today because Chip's been in the industry for a long time and running trustedchoice.com. Chip has an interesting lens on our industry and what goes on there, and really trustedchoice.com. And I'll let you, of course, get into this, Chip, more. But trustedchoice.com is really, I guess you'd say, a consortium, if you will, of carriers and large brokers, and of course the Big I that came together to promote the independent agents across our beautiful country, essentially. Right?
That's right.
It's like you're the marketing arm for the independent agent.
That's
the way
right.
I've always looked at it. So with that, you drive a lot of leads and whatnot to the independent channel and really just promoting the brand, among other things that you'll get into later.
True.
But yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be here, Reid. Yeah, just a little more color on that. The industry was very worried about the competitiveness of the independent agent, the average independent agent. They weren't that worried that, an Aon or a Marsh was going to, go out of business. But that average Main Street independent insurance agent felt like it was under a lot of threat at the, say, 2009, 2010, 2011. There were some studies and articles being written that we were going to go the way of the travel agent. And the industry wanted to fight back. And so the large IA companies came together behind the big I and other leaders in our space. And there were actually a lot of people involved in those days in getting it formed. We did have a rocky start, which was before my time. But this is actually December marks the 10th year of me being the CEO.
Wow.
So
Holy moly.
like next week is my 10-year anniversary.
Man, time flies.
I know. It really went by fast. But anyway, yes, we have come together to help the little guy who couldn't on his own or her own, think about it, couldn't possibly compete digitally, couldn't get to page one of Google and things like that, like the large captive agents especially could. And so they said, hey, let's get together and we're going to pool our resources, pool our capabilities, and come up with this. Because the strength of that network of thousands and thousands of independent insurance agents in every community in America, nothing can beat that in terms of being an advisor to everyone that needs insurance. So it's an amazing capability, the IA channel, and it's an amazing service to American business, American families. But it's not ideally suited, to just sort of step into the digital world. So trustedchoice.com the idea was let's build a platform to aggregate and get some focus on that.
Which you've done and been very successful at it.
I think we have. We're getting there. Yeah.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. So before we dive into more business stuff, let's get into Chip. Let's talk about Chip.
Sure.
Chip, where'd you grow up? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And if you've ever driven through Pennsylvania, Mechanicsburg, it was, you had to, in the old days, they had to drive wagons between like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. And there's kind of a convenient place to stop in the middle when your wagon wheel fell off. And after a while, a bunch of guys set up like a wagon wheel repair shop there. And today it's called Mechanicsburg.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was actually a little bit part of the Battle of Gettysburg. Actually, most of the towns in the middle of Pennsylvania were in some way part of the Battle of Gettysburg. So there were cavalry troops running up and down the streets and doing all kinds of things. And it's not far from Gettysburg. Huh. So if you want to know where it is, it's kind of look at Harrisburg and kind of go southwest or west, 15, 20 miles.
Awesome.
Great town.
What did your parents do for a living?
My mom worked, she was a hospital administrator, and my dad worked for the Department of Defense his entire career. He worked for the Department of the Navy.
Really? Doing what? As a civilian or? As
a civilian, yeah. He was a Marine when he was younger.
Okay.
Mom didn't like that idea. Thought that was kind of hazardous for a father to go out and get shot as a Marine. So then he switched to civilian, and he was in software. He did, back when they had punch cards, and he was really in the foundation of all the payroll systems. And the largest inland naval base in the world is in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
It's a very weird story, but if you ever go there, you'll see these hills. They're not real hills. They're artificial hills, or at least they used to be in the 70s, of strategic metals that the Navy was putting there, lead, copper, all kinds of things they needed for war. And they would store it, but they had to move it inland so it couldn't be easily captured, on the shore. So they moved it 100 miles from the ocean, and it's still there today. The ship's part control center. So if you're ever looking for like an old part to a battleship, it's probably in Mechanicsburg.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
They're like battleship junkyards.
But not obviously not the whole thing too big. But totally. Lots and lots of parts are secured off. You can't just walk through. But
that'd be so cool. I'd love to go pick parts in that.
I would too. I'm sure there's a lot of interest. Can have a torpedo, and I like that 5-inch gun, and I'll take all this stuff.
I'd get killed and come home, a trailer full of stuff, you put it all in the yard.
You'd have, it'd be a great attraction for the neighborhood for about a day. What the hell? But anyway, my dad worked for the Navy, and then eventually he actually moved to Pensacola, so that's where he finished his career.
Okay. Gotcha. So what did you do when you were a kid? Sports, hobbies? What did you do for fun?
I did in my, early teen years, I did a lot of fishing. Pennsylvania is well known for trout fishing, and I waded in. And
no kidding.
Oh, it was great.
I didn't know this about you.
Yeah.
You're a big trout fisherman.
Back in the day, I was. You moved to Wisconsin near Milwaukee, and there's not a lot of trout. We have it up north, as you know. There is some trout fishing in Wisconsin, but nothing like Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania is as close as you'll get to like a Colorado or a Wyoming in the east. And the Yellow Breeches, which is, and the Connedeguin, and I live right between those two creeks, which are really well-known trout streams. I could get on my bike and ride a mile and a half and be in the water, and it was great. And of course, when you're 12, you don't even know you're in this amazing place. It's just home.
Yeah.
Then later, I was on the golf team in high school. And so when you're on the golf team, they let you play golf for free at any golf course. It's, all the local places. Once you let them know I'm on the golf team at the high school, they're like, you can come play whatever you want. So I spent an awful lot of high school afternoons. And plus, they let you out of school like an hour early if you said you were going to golf practice.
Well, that's cool.
So I'd be off at the golf course at 3:00 in the afternoon. Play 5 holes, 6 holes, doesn't matter. Wait till it gets dark, go home.
You still golf a lot?
I don't golf a lot, but I do still golf.
Yeah.
It's in the insurance business now, and it was really handy in the early parts of my career. We played a lot more golf. I don't know why we've gotten away from playing golf. I only play twice a year now.
I hear that golf is, and this is what people have said, but golf's kind of dying as a sport.
Oh, it's really struggling. I mean, COVID kind of saved it a little bit because everybody, what can you do? Well, you can go be on a golf course because you're not near anyone. So I think it's had a little bit of a rebound, but no, it's in trouble. There's not as many, 20-somethings playing golf as there were when you and I were 20-something.
Yeah, man, I'm not a golfer. I've never been a golfer. It's just not my thing. I mean, I've done it. I've taken lessons. I mean, I've joined the country club. I've played. I used to be a member over here at III now, it's University Club. I don't know if you know it, but anyways, it's just never been my thing. Like I like it's fun, but I don't know, the whole day doing that. It's just you have to find. It's right. It's not for everybody, but for some people, it's a walk in the park. It's an excuse to walk around with your friends. Yeah, that's what it is.
Right?
You go drink with your buddies,
right?
Jokes, smoke cigars.
Yeah,
I get all that.
It's like just about every male endeavor. It's an excuse to go.
This is true.
Yeah,
I guess maybe I just have too much freedom in my life. I just do that normally.
You have too many fast cars, fast motorcycles,
yes,
right?
This is true.
If we had those, imagine every golf course is really just a motocross opportunity, right? I mean, it's just wide open. Drive your car wherever you want. Dune buggy, all you want. Now, that would be a little hard on the fairway, so that's why that doesn't happen.
I'm no joke. I've been kicked off a few golf courses for just tearing it up.
Sure.
Like literally. I mean, it's it's fun. It's cool, but yeah, interesting. So what did you want to do when you grew up? When you were a kid, you're like, when I grow up, I want to be this.
I wanted to be an insurance executive. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I think you're right.
No, nobody ever. Mike Rice, one of the mentors, I think I may have listed. He used to give a speech like a career day, and I kind of have borrowed part of it. And there's no 12-year-olds out there that say, when I grow up, I want to be in the insurance industry.
Yeah, no way.
It's something you find. Or it finds you.
Yep.
And once you're in it, then you realize what an amazing profession it can be. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I wanted to be an aerospace engineer.
Oh, wow.
That's what I wanted to be.
An aerospace engineer.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it started off, I wanted to be an architect. It sort of evolved. And then I wanted to be a mechanical engineer, aerospace. By the time I went to college and I learned that you could make a lot more money if you were a stock, like an investment banker or something like that. Then I kind of switched to that. Then the stock market crashed in 87, which is right before, I was sort of getting serious about interviewing. So all those, and some guy named Pat Ryan, who I had no idea what the hell Rollins Verdict Hunter did. He wanted to form this internship program, and he wanted to get one person from each of these Midwest schools, Notre Dame and Michigan, Northwestern and Illinois and so forth. And I was fortunate to be the one selected from my school.
Wow. No kidding.
That's why it just happened to me. I got pulled in. It's like, well, can't get the job I thought I wanted. I'll take this job for a while. It'll buy me all the beer I want in Chicago for a couple of years. We'll see how it goes.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Notre Dame in Indiana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's amazing.
It was
like right in. So you went, so back up a little bit. So you went to school for finance. You wanted to be a broker. You're doing like, Series 7, 63, whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
That's me. That's what I want to do. I want to be on Wall Street doing the thing, yelling at people in the pits, whatever it was, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then market fell out, crashed, and you're like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Nope.
So, but there's this internship. I don't know what this insurance
This is back when they actually posted. They posted jobs on bulletin boards, like real paper with real thumbtacks back then. And so I'm down in the career placement center, and all us finance guys were there, and we're all like, all the jobs are gone. I mean, they're all poof. They were there a week ago and now they're gone. There's no interviews. What are we going to do? And so, like I said, there was this thing. Rollins Burdick Hunter is what Aon was called actually at that time. It was about a year before it changed names. And I thought, well, that sounds very financy, right? Rollins Burdick Hunter. And I had no idea who Pat Ryan was at the time.
So for the listeners, who's Pat Ryan?
Pat Ryan is the founder of Aon. He's also he's the founder of like 4 insurance companies, but Aon is what he's best known for. Today, he's also the founder of Ryan Specialty Group. Mm-hmm. I got to make sure I get the S. There's different RSG, Ryan Specialty Group. So he's founded multiple insurance companies. He actually started his career with W. Clement Stone was one of his mentors. And if you ever get a chance, look this up. W. Clement Stone founded Combined Insurance of America, which goes all the way back to the 1930s or 40s with industrial life in the Midwest, door to door, 15 cents a week. So in case your husband gets crushed in the big giant steel press kind of stuff, it really is. And he was a real innovator, and Pat Ryan and him met when Pat was in his 20s, I think. And they did all kinds of interesting things together. And then later on, Pat managed to combined insurance and Rollins Burdick Hunter into one company. And that became in 1987 or 88 Aon.
Wow.
And
that's when
that's exactly when he said, I need some young people that we can teach from the ground up our way of doing things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. It was quite a thing to be
Straight
part
out
of.
of school, handpicked, intern program.
Yeah.
Here you guys all are.
Yep.
That's amazing.
It was fun.
So tell me about the Aon experience. So all right, you're a newbie, green, you come into this insurance world. What did you do? Like, what did that look like?
It was great. Actually, it's the privilege that nobody else will be able to have, unfortunately. So they wanted to expose us to every part of the business, right? So in that intern program, we spent, I don't remember, like 2 weeks, I think, at a time, something like that. 2 weeks in the, sort of small commercial, 2 weeks in the claims department, 2 weeks in everything, every risk management, different areas, large commercial. I remember I got to work on the Ford Motor Company account for 2 weeks. I mean, again, I was just an intern. I was just helping, totally. Yeah. But you get so much exposure. And then after I was hired as a full-time person, which was nice, by the way, to be in my senior year and already have a job offer. All these other guys are worried. And I'm like, well, I've got this offer from Aon, so I think I'm going to go there. So that made senior year fun. But anyway, after that, I got to work. And another mentor, if I didn't mention him, was Paul Slamar. He was the general counsel at Aon Specialty Group at the time. And he taught me all about how an insurance policy really works. I mean, he wrote custom bespoke insurance policies for special Aon clients.
That's awesome.
And we even, at different points, we tried to come up with unique coverages for Aon clients. So one of the ones I got to work on, I'm like 25, 24, was a product recall insurance that we made up from scratch. And Paul was obviously the attorney. I mean, he
did that insurance exist at that time?
It did not. So, so there had been some famous big contaminations of like Tylenol, and there was a big one of Perrier water and some other things. And there was coverage if it was intentional. This is a little nerdy insurance wise, but there was no coverage if it was accidental. And so we actually set about to try to write insurance from scratch, blank piece of paper. How do you write an insurance policy for a brand new exposure and build in all the exclusions you need and all the protections? And how do you model out what you think the claims will be and losses? I had the most in-depth sort of education and immersion in real hardcore risk management and insurance at the age of 25. We're flying over to London. I get to fly to London and help present this so we can get reinsurance behind it.
Wow.
So that's awesome. A lot of people will have to, they get the, they're probably sitting in a cubicle somewhere and just cold calling people all day. And I certainly did some of that, quite a bit of that. But I also got to do some amazing things in my 20s that really helped me see what the challenge of insurance. It's really a rich field and a rich profession, and you can do really creative things. So that was fun.
It's a great education.
Yeah, it was.
It's amazing.
I have nothing but gratefulness to all of the people that let me do that stuff and invited me into that world. It was wonderful.
Aon would be what? Number 2?
Yeah, it goes back and forth.
Between Marsh.
And Marsh.
Gallagher's like in there too. I don't
third-ish.
Yeah, they're all kind of fighting.
They all fight for it. Yeah. There was a point at which if Aon or Marsh made a significant acquisition, they would literally flip-flop, 1 week. Like, we just bought Alexander and Alexander. We're one more one, that kind of thing. That went on. Oh, we'll be back, we're going to buy whatever, Johnson and Higgins or something. With all these names that are gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would do that for a while and sort of one-up each other. That's kind of, yeah.
So what happened after Aon? So how long were you there for a while?
Yeah, I did 8 years my first tour. I've actually done 2, but we'll get back to that later.
Well, go ahead. So after Aon?
After Aon, I met the girl of my dreams who I actually had met many years before at school, at college. But we finally decided, we were going to date seriously. She lived in Texas. I was in Chicago at Aon. And it had been 8 years, and it was time to do something different. So I went to Texas. And I went to work for a wholesale broker there called McLean Oddie, which I'm really glad I did. I learned a whole lot about the energy business, and I learned how a real wholesaler works. We had wholesalers at Aon, but this was a scrappy little 30-person wholesaler that really specialized in energy. They did a lot of their placements with the UK market, and I had a great mentor there as well, Stuart Dobby, who probably might still run McLean Oddie. I'm not sure. I should get connected. Stuart, if you're out there, let's talk. Thank you for everything. But anyway, that was a great immersion. I only did that for a couple of years, and then I went to work for Gallagher. Again, that's when I made the jump to Gallagher.
All right. How'd your buddies at Aon feel about that?
Oh, they were fine with that. They were fine. They were totally fine. It's you know what? Everybody knows each other in this business, right? It's like the NFL. You play a game, and then at the end, right, they all walk on the field and hug each other and say hi. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. So, yeah. Then I went to, and by that time I was more moving into the technology area. Okay. So it's right around 2000. And at that point, it's like people were starting to realize there's this thing, the internet had been around for 5 years or whatever. We finally were clearly going to be moving in that direction. It was perfect for everything insurance does, was all this communication on the internet. And I was at the right stage in my career that I could be saying things like, we should take this, why don't we take this, this insurance program that sells professional liability to nurses or lawyers or whatever. It's really simple. We do it all through direct mail. We could just have a website. We could put it on there. And they go, what's a web? Almost not quite that bad, but what's a website? How do we build one? So I was part of that. So I was actually the first employee at, what did we call it at Gallagher? The e-business. We called it e-business. Okay. Gallagher e-business unit. Yeah. I was the first employee there and got that department started. And that's when I was working for Wally Bryce, and he was kind of the innovator at the time in the Gallagher family. And it was great. And we went from there. Yeah, it was fun. I've had nothing but one fun adventure after another.
So, all right. So Gallagher, then what?
Gallagher, then Zywave.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Zywave.
Yeah, that's how I ended up in Milwaukee.
So now you went pure technology. All right, so talk about that. So where were you living when you were at Gallagher? Still
mostly in Tulsa. So the... it's headquartered. Gallagher at the time, of course, was headquartered in the Schaumburg area. That's not Itasca, Illinois. So I was there an awful lot, but my family needs at the time and the way Gallagher was organized, I was actually spent most of my time in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then Zywave was in Milwaukee, and they at the time were known more as a provider of technology services to employee benefits brokers for the most part. Yep. And they really wanted, because it was expanded out of an agency that had focused on employee benefits. And so they knew they needed to move into the P&C space, and they needed somebody that could help them do that. They brought me on to help design or to modify some of the products they have, like broker briefcase and other things, and to start to think about a next generation of products that was more tailored to P&C agents, which I did. And that was a lot of fun. Another great opportunity to work again for a different kind of an organization, this time all technology, there's no insurance sold there. Instead, the insurance agents were the customers. That was the first time I had them as customers. And learned a whole lot about how do you have insurance agents as customers and what are the challenges that they face and how do you explain what a product does and how do you make sure the product's meeting their needs and how do you support it? And when they don't use it, what do you do? And all those kinds of challenges that I still face, today. So that was really interesting. And then they went through sort of some private equity. This happens a lot in the technology space. It's time to be sold.
Who they sell it to?
They sold it to Vista, I believe.
Vista.
Yeah, I believe it was Vista.
Ooh, brutal.
I know
This is brutal.
It was brutal, and I was like, oh, this is what I really signed up for. But I had sort of done the useful part that I could do. I'd made enough of a nudge in a direction, and they were going to be fine. And I had an opportunity to go back to Aon.
Oh wow!
So and do a second tour at Aon. So I thought, for whatever reason, you got to check things out, right? I'm on the technology side. Well, I want to go back to the broker side. I want to go. And again, right point in my career. So I went back and did another tour at Aon. And then not too long after that was when I had the opportunity to come to Trusted Choice. And that was unusual. I was working on some different ideas with some folks, like a guy named Richard Roy, for example. Call out to Richard, another mentor, I suppose, and good friend. And he was the CEO, founder of CSR 24.
Oh, yeah.
And Vinny Savarese was his partner, and Vinny still works at Trusted Choice today. So Rich called me up one day and he said, the big guy's in trouble. They got this project. It's an interesting project, but it's in some financial straits. And Rich said, I think you might be the guy that could help fix it.
What was his involvement in it?
He's always been very involved in the Big I and sort of an advisor, right, from the technology side.
Got it.
I'm not sure exactly how he was in that conversation, but I know he was in the conversation. They were sort of looking around, going, "Who could we bring in to help out?" Yeah. And he's the guy that threw my name into the ring.
Yeah.
And so then I got a call from somebody that was doing the search for the Big I, and one thing led to another, and after many meetings, I would fly to somewhere the Big I was having a meeting. They'd say, would you come down and talk to us? I'd fly down and I'd meet with some Big I leaders and met with a lot of the insurance company leaders that were also the original founders. And after a while, they said, we want you to try to save this thing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how bad it was at the time.
Yeah.
And it was pretty rough. It was, when I was hired 10 years ago this week, there was only 90 days of cash left.
Oh,
yeah.
That's got to be a hard pill to swallow.
It was. I
leave this great career.
Yeah.
Go over here to do this mission.
And I didn't know it was that bad. So I kind of felt like, what kind of false bill of goods? Where's my due diligence skill? I never figured out. I had just signed a 3-year contract and they had 90 days. I'm like, what?
Man.
And they said, don't worry, you're going to fix it. And I said, okay. And we fixed it together. It by no means was a one-person effort. Yeah. It was a lot of great people that were part of the company then, are still part of the Big I family today. I'll call out some name. Tom Minkler was an amazing agent that was involved in that. Dave Walker, Bob Rusbold, who's still the CEO of the Big I. It was a team effort, and a lot of great insurance company leaders as well. Matt Nickerson from Safeco, Ed Largent from Westfield, and I could name others that really pulled in. Bill Permort, who retired recently from Central. It was really a good group of insurance executives that said, don't worry, we're going to save this. We got your back. They did put in more money. They didn't leave me with the 90 down. They sort of said, we'll back it up. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And we all came together. And so I think that was quite an adventure to be part of that, to figure out how to save that. Every Insurtech pivots. I can't think of a single one, and maybe you know one, but maybe I don't, that 5 years after they were founded are still following exactly the same business plan they started off with. They typically have to find some point of pivot, some adaptation of the product, some adaptation of the messaging, adaptation of their technology stack or plan or whatever. You have to wade out there and encounter what you will. You make your best guesses, but be prepared to be agile in not just software development, but business. Yeah. And be prepared to change course. The original vision of TrustedChoice.com was personal lines only.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Absolutely. It was personal lines only. It was heavily focused on quoting. So the revenue model was going to be like 10 cents a quote or something. There was just a lot of things that were baked in. It was very heavily focused on providing websites for agencies,
that's tough.
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough space.
Tough business.
Tough
for
business.
Those listening that do that in their business, Thank you.
Yes.
That is tough. It's tough.
It is very hard. It's very hard to, our purpose was, well, how do we help thousands of agencies, right? Yeah. Well, websites are like one agency at a time. You spend your whole life trying to help 500 agencies.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
it's a long haul.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had to almost, and there were people that, like anything else, when you say, let's change something, there's always somebody that's like, pushes back, changes, even though human beings, our best skill is adaptation. The thing we hate to do the most is change. Why is that? It's a curse. You could throw us into whatever. You could pick me and you up right now, put us in a secret helicopter and drop us anywhere in the planet. Yep. And we'd figure out how to survive. 100%. But we'd be so annoyed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, what the hell? Yeah. I don't want to be here. I had other things to do. This is not what I planned for today. And that's what every business, especially Insurtech, right? They dream up this vision of what their tool is going to do. Yeah. And the product features, and they get really emotional about every little thing, right? The logo, the colors, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And so then something needs to change. People don't like that. Like, we're going to change the logo. Yeah. Like that. Have a meeting with people that want to change a logo. Yeah. That's like, I almost want to just.
Brutal.
So brutal.
Yeah.
That's the wrong shade purple or something,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can spend an hour on that. Like, really? Come on, guys. Yeah. Let's flip a coin.
That's what that business is so hard. It's so tough.
It is very tough. It is very tough. It really is. But that's the thing I would say is, it's being agile and adapting your plan. And that's exactly what we did at Trusted Choice. We weren't afraid to change anything. Yeah. Weren't afraid to change anything. And so, of course, we had we had lots of speed bumps and lots of critics. Oh, yeah. And we just slogged through it.
Yeah. You definitely.
One adaptation at a time.
Yeah. It's an interesting point you made about Insurtech's pivoting. I think that's businesses in general to some degree.
Probably.
Right?
Sure.
As they grow and as they mature, they kind of have to pivot in certain ways. You know what's interesting, though? I was just thinking about when you're saying that, is I've known a bunch of Insurtech or companies in this world, in our world, that didn't even really know what they wanted to be when they grew up, even from the beginning. They're kind of like, yeah, we're doing this thing. And and depending on who they talk to, it'd be like a different spiel on what they actually do. And some of these, not to name names at all, some of these companies have had very large exits as well.
Oh,
at
sure.
the end of the day, but like all along you were kind of confused, at least I was, and among others. It's like, wait, what do you do? Like, what are you actually doing? And they kind of would pivot on the fly depending on who they were talking to. But
totally agree. So, and there's good pivots and there's bad.
Yep.
You got to know when to stick to your guns and when not. And
yep. That's the other thing. Yeah. On the flip side of that, there's companies out there even now that are just holding on to this thing that is just, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's just like, it's like you want to say you have to change. And even if you do, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Right. And they're just holding on to it. It's kind of dying on the vine, if you will.
I'll give an example of an area where we have changed recently and I have been dragged kicking and screaming. So even, you got to look at yourself. Mm-hmm. It's not enough. You can't just assume that everyone else is the one that's the change resistor. Sometimes it's right in here. It's right inside yourself. So I hate the word leads. Yeah. I hate it. And by the way, our mutual friend Ilya Bodner has a sign in his office. If you go to Bold Penguin, I hope you still have it out there, Ilya. It's got the word leads and it's got like a big Ghostbuster X over it. So same thing. You can't say that word, right? And the reason that I don't like the word is because it doesn't describe what I want to bring to our agents. It doesn't describe a lead is that cold thing. Somebody filled out a loan application 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So they must be a homeowner's insurance candidate because they filled out a mortgage application 3 weeks ago. So let's sell it to 10 insurance agents. They can all cold call the guy and, hey, you want to buy some home insurance? That's not a lead.
But to be fair, a lead, technically speaking, right? On like a technical level, CRM, whatever it is, a lead is a business card. That's a lead.
Okay.
It's a lead as a business card. This is how I like to look at it technical lens on your
Yeah. Because you're thinking of it. You're thinking of a database record.
It's like, it's just a small, hey, here's a business card. Right. Hey, we met playing golf or whatever at the bar, whatever it may be. Hey, this guy has a business. Here's their card, right? Leads in our space have gotten a really bad
name. So I don't want to hear.
Because of all these lead aggregators. What do you call these guys?
Yeah.
That, like you said, I'm applying for a 20% off coupon for Home Depot. And all of a sudden, I'm getting spammed.
Right.
Insurance.
This is clearly. Right? Yeah. He must have a house if he's buying, home repair equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what we try to distribute to our agents on TrustedChoice.com are real-time, inbound, high-intent, organically sourced insurance sales opportunities. So we had somebody on our website. You know how it works.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's on our website a minute ago. And they were on we'll do home insurance if you want. They were on the home insurance page reading all about, how to insure your home and what are the important things to cover. And on every page on trustedchoice.com, we were always reinforcing what you really need. The smartest thing you could do is have the right independent insurance agent helping you, making sure you get the right coverage, making sure you're placed with the right market. So anyway, they're doing that. They click on a button that says, find the right agent for you. And then they go through and they answer a couple of questions. And we go, oh, look, it's Jane Smith, and she's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she's got a house at this address, and she wants a quote. That's not a business card. That's a high intent, inbound, organic, real time, exclusive. We only give that to one agent. Here, agent, here it is. So that's a prospect, but I can't call him. I don't know why I can't call him prospect.
Technically speaking, that is, yes, it's a prospect account, but technically that's an opportunity.
Yeah, it is. You and I are speaking Salesforce-ese right now. Yes, totally. I know. We both have that training.
Yeah.
So I actually internally we do call it an opportunity in our own data modeling, speak.
We do really an opportunity.
We call that an opportunity.
They took the time to enter in their information. Yep. They said, hey, my hand's up. I would like a quote, basically.
And maybe this podcast will change things. And we can all start calling those opportunities, because I go into any meeting in the country and somebody says, so Chip, what kind of leads have you got? And I just want to crawl under and so I'm giving up. You know what, Reid? I'm giving up. This is me changing. I'm changing. We're going to embrace the damn word, and we're going to redefine it. We're going to redefine it. I'm going to have to erase what you and I think of, because you and I think of the sales cycle in a CRM, right? CRM, that's what you and I are thinking of.
Yeah.
We're going to erase that off the board.
Totally.
And we're going to, since that's the word that insurance agents want to use and insurance companies, that's the word they want to use.
Yeah.
We're going to use that word, but we're going to have to get it redefined in everybody's head. They're good leads.
Let's talk about leads for a second. Mm-hmm. So for context, I've done a lot of work in that space back in the day. Mm-hmm. When I had Tech Canary, I had a lot of these guys that spent huge money. I may have talked about this in the podcast before, but I'll say it again. They spent huge money on leads. Mm-hmm. Their entire business, how they brought business in the door was through leads. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, these guys didn't just go to like NetQuote and, I'll sign up for $10,000 a month or whatever it may be. They use all kinds of sophisticated tools, and we built tools for them so that when a call come in, we would hit the call controller, it automatically dial it, instantly. That's why those are the guys when you do hit submit on, insurancequotes.com. And as soon as you hit submit, your phone rings instantly. Mm-hmm. That's all the systems and the tech and what they've used. Those guys in that, they use lead ID and they do all the data, they mine it. I mean, it's the real deal. I had a client, and I've said this before, because I was just blown away. As an insurance agent back in the day, I used to buy a lot of leads. We bought a shit ton of leads. And we use that for business development. We bring them in and we cross-sell the hell out of them. That's how you make money on it.
Yep.
Typically, leads when they come in, but the leads that are coming in, a lot of that business, especially on the personal line side, is mostly non-standard historically, right? But you'll get some stuff that's like somebody just boom, and you'll get like, really great risk, right?
Yep.
As it will. But anyways, I had a customer one time, their so overall, like, industry average back when I was doing that, you're happy with like 10%, 15%. Now that was when they're a little more quality. Now it's like pure garbage. And I hear guys go like, 3% is good. It's like stupid. Right.
Yeah.
But and some of them even look at it like as a loss leader. It's crazy.
Yep.
But I had a customer that had a 56% conversion ratio. on paid leads. 56%. Now, we're not talking about the leads you're talking about. What you're talking about is like they would consider those, I forget even what they call those. Like, it's not just a lead, it's like a qualified lead or whatever, but you're talking about somebody that raised your hand.
Yeah.
That's exclusive, inbound,
high intent right now.
Now, to get into this, knowing this, so a good buddy of mine, Ryan McClintock, those who know Ryan McClintock out there, Ryan McClintock started Canopy Insurance. Ryan McClintock was at what was Leads 360. Mm-hmm. First it was Velocity, not Velocify, the Salesforce shop. It was Velocity, and what that was, it was a lead distribution platform. Early on, mortgage brokers would buy it, agents would buy it, and essentially leads would pipe into this thing. They do round robining, and they'd send it to the different people, whatever. Well, Ryan worked there when it was like two dudes in a garage, and he started running the insurance side of it. So for context, Ryan went out and he said, and he went and he was selling this product, technology product, to all these insurance agents. And he's like, and we'll get to this. I know you have an opinion on this. He said, insurance agents really suck at this. Like if you know Ryan, there's like words out of his mouth, right? And so he's like, you know what? I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go start my own insurance agency.
Yep.
So Ryan started an agency, Canopy Insurance. He just sold it to, who was it? I was just hanging out with one of the dudes. He sold it to EverQuote.
Okay.
Recently. It was Everquote? Somebody like that. Anyways.
Yeah, sure.
Recently. But Ryan, in the matter of 2 years, put on 14,000 customers. Mm-hmm. Pure leads. And I remember going out there in Rancho Cucamonga and like out there, and he's in the office was in Claremont with Eddie and eating fig burgers. If you guys are listening, I love you guys. Anyways, it was like pure call center, and they were crushing it. This isn't the 56% conversion ratio customer, by the way.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Ryan really crushed it. His thing, when he used to get up on stage, and I think he still does, he would always say, it's all about speed to lead. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. It's once that lead comes in, right? You need to be on the phone with them instantly, because that customer, even if it's exclusive, because that customer or prospect or whatever it is going to go to another site and enter the stuff in because they're on the hunt.
They're on the hunt.
And like for me, dude, if I'm going to go, and I'm going to talk personal lines for a second, these guys do all of it. But like, if I'm going to go and shop my personal line stuff, I'm like carving out an afternoon. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Like, and I'm going to blah, 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 blah. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I know a lot of people in this world, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I'm on the hunt. I'm putting my information in 5 different places.
You got to get it done.
And so the first person, and this is data driven. The first person that I talk to is typically the person that I buy from.
I totally agree with you.
So here's what happens in our industry. Agents don't do shit. Most of the time, they spend the money on it. And I used to do this when I was an agent, and I was actually working at Brightway Insurance. We bought so many leads, and I swear, leads would come in, and guys would be like, "Oh yeah, come in at 2:00 in the afternoon. Oh yeah, I gotta get these policies bound, this, that, and the other. I'll get to that tomorrow." Right? Yeah. They call them back tomorrow. And the guy would be like, first of all, they wouldn't even answer the phone because they've already gotten 100 calls, right? But, and now we're not talking about your opportunities.
We're not getting there yet. But I know the problem you're talking about. Keep going.
About leads. Yeah. And then they go, these are shit. This stuff sucks. Right. Now, when you go and buy a $10 lead from NetQuote or whatever it may be, or whatever the hell it is, there's a million of them out there, right? Sure. That's like the Home Depot kind of stuff. That stuff is hard. It's a grind to get that done.
It is very hard.
Now, but it's funny, even with the exclusive ones, these really high quality, and I'm sure you have another term, maybe you do. What would you call them? Referrals. One of these great referrals that comes in. Even those. Yep. Dude, I've tried this out too, by the way. I myself, like a while back, I think you and I were talking about some shit. I went on a couple of websites and I put in my information. I got no calls.
Oh yeah, none.
No calls.
None.
No calls. No. And I have stuff, man. Like I have real money in insurance.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean?
I'm sitting in a property any agent would love to insure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? And nothing.
Right.
Nothing. So tell me, Chip, what is the problem here?
I have.
Hold on, for context, this is like what you guys do.
This is what we do.
You do a lot of things, but this is what you guys do at your core. You are spending shit tons of cash on advertising across all platforms, even TV. Right. You're watching TV.
That's right. Yeah.
TrustedChoice.com. Like, oh shit, that's awesome. Like all over the place. Radio ads, like all the traditional stuff as well as all the new stuff. You spend tons of money on advertising to drive business into the IA channel.
Yes.
That people come to your site, like you said, inbound strategy. Hey, learn about this, do this and that. But hey, why waste your time learning all this shit? Just get with a good independent agent.
Yep.
Right? Input your information.
You're exactly right. And we encounter the exact problem that you have described every day. So the challenge, I now call it the producer availability challenge.
The producer availability
sounds very
I like it.
Fancy, academic. Sounds like we researched it.
Wow, that was awesome. Chip Bacciocco, what an awesome guy. It's great to hear his story. He is really an industry guy through and through. He has done it and is in it, right? This guy is never going to leave this industry. It's really, really awesome. It's amazing that he's been at Trusted Choice for 10 years. Man, time flies. It's wild. Stay tuned because in the next episode, we're going to get deep into the producer availability challenge and what that means. It's going to be awesome.